Sorry so much for the delay in getting this one out to you, but on today's podcast, we have Dean Waite on. Dean is the owner of CrossFit 168. He is a long-time CrossFit affiliate owner. He's a really cool coach, and I wanted to talk to him for a really long time. I had so much fun having him out, and I hope I can actually go out there pretty soon and hang out with the guys, because they're doing some amazing things. This episode was recorded just as restrictions were starting to lift in Sydney, so we were allowed to do outdoor training, and 168 was one of the only gyms that kind of had an outdoor area, so they were actually starting to train people outdoors. I really enjoyed this podcast, and I think you guys will too. Guys, if you're interested in getting some coaching for weightlifting, strongman, powerlifting, or CrossFit, if you're serious about any of those things and you want some online programming, or you want to come out and train with us, you now can. We have a bunch of athletes on all of our different programs. We've got amazing coaches that are experts in all of their fields, and I think we can help you. So look us up and sign up. I'll get in touch. If you're interested in Weightlifting House products, reach out as well. You can go to www.rawbarbellclub.com /shop, and you can see all of our Weightlifting House products. So thumb tape, barbells. We hopefully will soon have bumper plates as well, so you can get all of that on the site. And lastly, if you like this podcast, please share it with your friends. That's the only way we grow. And if you really want to support this podcast, you now can. Making this podcast is a lot of fun, but it just does run on your donations. So you can go to www.rawbarbellclub.com /donate, and you can donate whatever amount you see fit. All we ask for is the price of a coffee. Thanks so much, guys, and I'll see you at the end. A lot of people go through that after a while in CrossFit. You just don't want to have to deal with the pain anymore.
Exactly, yeah. And just getting good numbers on your lifts and stuff and feeling strong is nice. Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah. Let's cover some controversial stuff.
We'll start with the controversial?
Yeah.
Okay.
What a time to do it.
When no one can train anyway.
That's right.
That's actually, sorry, I just put it up a lot. So I figured we'd just leave them there, and it should pick up our speech. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, we can hold them in our hands and I'll turn down the damper, but it doesn't really matter too much. All right, we're live. Welcome to my garage.
Thanks for having me.
So this is all new. I actually installed this morning.
Right.
Just before you got here, because last night we went to the gym and I actually have to give my gym back. I decided to not re-sign my lease at the gym. Right. And I'm giving the gym back on Monday. Mm-hmm. So I've got to kind of move everything out to, prepare for the next phase in the gym's life. RAW Barbell 4.0, if you consider this to be 3.0. Mm-hmm. And so I was quick at work trying to do all that before you guys got here.
Right, cool.
How's the drive?
It's a great setup. It's got everything you need, isn't it?
And a bit extra.
More, yeah. Probably don't need that assault bike.
Yeah, surprisingly, Mum really likes the assault bike. I think one of the funniest memes that have come out of this quarantine period has been like, I think it was, Fluffy Duck?
Yeah.
Yeah, he posted something, it's like, if there was one piece of equipment that you could get rid of from your CrossFit gym, what would it be? Yeah. It was, if there was one piece of equipment, what would it be? And it was like, why the assault bike? Yeah. It's like straight off, everyone's answer is like, get rid of that thing.
There's been a bunch of great memes about that, about coming back into the gym, and there's that one with that comedian where it's a take on Obama, where he walks through the crowd and he brings it in for some people and not for others, depending on their tan. And it's just got, when he sees clean and jerk is these ones, snatches is these ones, and then assault bike just keeps walking, sort of stuff. Yeah, it's love-hate relationship. I think that's a great conditioning tool, probably one of the better ones that's available for hurting people and for sprint intervals and that sort of stuff. But yeah, I could do without it.
Yeah, like it's great because like let's say you break your arm, you can assault bike.
Yeah,
you
that's
break
right.
your foot, you
That's
can
right.
assault bike.
That's right.
Like you can't row all the
great
time,
piece
you
of
can't run
equipment.
all the time.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's versatile, but that's what sucks about it.
Yeah.
Do you have assault bikes or SMAI bikes?
Yeah, we've got assault. Yeah.
Have you used the Rogue, what is it,
The
Echo?
Rogue one, we bought one at Kingsgrove, and I think we will end up replacing all our assault because I don't think they're built for commercial use.
Yeah.
I think if I was the only one using it and I was thrashing it every day, that'd be fine, but 15 classes with blokes twice my size, getting on them and putting them through, they just break. There's at least one broken bike in the gym at all times. And
Yeah,
I'm getting
okay.
pretty good at fixing them, but by the time parts come and that sort of stuff, there's just always one or two out of commission. And it's just a pain in the ass.
Yeah, you pretty much want to be like at least tightening the handles like daily, right?
Yeah.
With heavy
Yeah.
use.
But I get that, so at the back there where the bell crank is, where the pedal attaches,
Yeah.
we snap them all the time.
Really?
Yeah, just the metal just clear snaps.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's never happened. You know what has happened? You know the sensor?
Yeah.
That sensor has gone into the fan and it's exploded into someone's face before. So,
Yeah.
I mean, we're not like ringing endorsements for
We're certainly not, good thing we're not sponsored.
but I do like them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like them, and I do think they look at the very least. I think they are on par or better than the SMAI ones.
Yeah, I love programming them because I know, like we're gonna hurt some people, and people like that. People that CrossFit, they love it. They don't. Certain people, they don't feel like they've got to work out unless they're thrashed. And although we know that's not necessarily the case, if that's what they want, at least once a week I'll give that to them. And the easiest way to do that is just program anything that's got an assault bike in it.
Yeah.
So.
And you don't have to do it long, like
No.
20 seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
And, like, you can kill someone.
Yeah,
If that's uncomfortable in your head, you can take it off.
No, it's lovely.
Yeah. So anyway, how was the drive here?
Yeah, it was great. It was all right. Once we got I headed off in the wrong direction this morning, and then the GPS was taking me everywhere out of the city. But once we worked out to get in the harbour tunnel, it was okay. Clear sailing.
Yeah, because you'd go like straight down the M2,
Yeah.
Windsor Road,
Yeah, basically.
get out here.
Yeah.
How's quarantine been treating you?
I'm really enjoying it. If you put the fact that the financial loss and all that sort of stuff that no one's immune to, as a lifestyle, I really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've been this strong in a while. All I'm doing is training, whereas normally it's my training sessions when they happen are often usually interrupted and stuff like that. I've always got my mind on something in the gym, and that's probably because I need to find somewhere to train that isn't in the business. But
Is that because people just take your time?
there's always someone walking in the gym, or my mind is not there. And
Are you guys 24/7?
No,
Okay.
no. But yeah, I'm always thinking about what I got to do after training or something like that. Whereas now it's just, especially the first few weeks where we're just doing online stuff, and we were only running 4 or 5 classes a day, and I was just giving one to each coach. So I was really only doing 1 class a day online. And so we had nothing to do but eat, sleep, and train, which has been, I think, how long's the gym been open? About 7 years. So since before then,
So
I've been
first
able
time
to do
in
that
7
sort of thing.
years
Yeah,
that
I've been
you've
able to do
had-
that.
What, this is 10 weeks off almost.
Yeah. So I'm hitting lifts I haven't hit in a very long time. So yeah, as a lifestyle, I really enjoy it. But yeah, it's not the most profitable time. But money's not everything, is it?
How many classes do you normally do?
I think it's 15 a day.
Yeah.
We do, and that includes our specialty classes. So on top of the CrossFit classes, we run weightlifting classes, we run gymnastics classes, strongman classes as well. So and they alternate between the days. But yeah, 15 classes a day is our normal timetable.
And how many out of the 15 a day would you run?
5 or 6.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you are actually like working
Yeah,
a
yeah.
fair bit within
Yeah.
the business
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and even if I'm there and I'm not coaching, I'm not running the class. I
You hang around.
I usually hang around, and then you can't help yourself.
Yeah,
You
I know the
get
feeling.
involved. So yeah, I'm always on. But yeah, it's because of this current situation, I've been able to take a bit of a break from that, and it's been nice.
Are you an early riser?
Not at all.
Oh, okay.
Not at all.
Do you do any morning classes?
No.
Oh, okay.
That was the first thing when I hired a coach. That was the first thing that I got rid of. So when I started the gym, I was still working for Combank, and so I would run all the classes. So I'd have to be up at 5, drive to the city. I lived at Bankstown, so drive to the city, run a 6 class, and then finish that, get ready for work, put a suit on, run across the road, do 8 hours there, and then run back and leave the gym at 9 o'clock, and then by the time I drive home it's 10. You eat, and so I was getting maybe 4 or 5 hours sleep a night. Did that for about 3 years until the business could afford to hire a coach, and that was the first thing I did, was get rid of the morning classes. Made a huge difference.
Yeah.
I couldn't do that now. It's all right when you're 26, 27, not when you're 34. I'd be worn out. So morning classes. I only do 1 morning class a week. That's on the Friday, and that's just, I like to see the guys.
Yeah,
because otherwise I wouldn't see
members.
the members. I like to come in and see them at least once a week. But I got great coaches, and they own the morning. So there's like Gabby, she's the consistent morning coach, and it's very much Gabby's crew. Like she owns them. They love her. They're in good hands.
And if she's a morning person, it's going to be a better service anyway.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Because that's one thing that I've really enjoyed about the gym closed, that I don't have to do any mornings.
Yeah.
It's so nice.
They burn you out. Yeah.
And I'm waking up, I said this in one of my vlogs recently, like I'm waking up at like 9:30, 10 sometimes.
Same. Yeah. It's just lovely.
Yeah. And like my partner, she's an early riser.
Yeah.
And she'll be like, you're so lazy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Like, some people's circadian rhythm is just shifted that far forward. It's okay.
Yeah. I'll work till 1, 2 in the morning. I don't mind that. As long as I can get up at 8 or 9.
Yeah.
I'm happy. Yeah.
So other than that, what else has changed with quarantine?
So
you have 2 gyms.
I got 2 gyms. I have a share in the Kingsgrove one, but that's Bruce's gym. So the main one that I run is the one in the city, and
so that's CrossFit 168.
That's CrossFit 168 Sydney CBD, and Bruce's is CrossFit 168 Kingsgrove. So I'm out there maybe once a week. I go and see her, but the majority of my time is spent in the city. And I suppose the first thing that we did when they said that we had to close, I think it was Monday lunch we had to close. We didn't bother. We made the call on the weekend. We're not going to open. Come and grab your as much equipment as you like. And all the members just came in, and within a few hours, we didn't even have tiles on the floor. Everything was gone. So that everyone took everything home, and we ran a class that morning, on Monday morning. So
on Zoom.
On Zoom, yeah. And then we set up. The coaches took some equipment as well, so that they could continue to run PTs for those that were doing that. So we have set up at Piermont in an apartment building there for Jack, who happens to live in the same apartment building as myself. So we set him up downstairs in the car park, and then we have.
He's one of your coaches.
He's one of the coaches, yeah. So he continued to run PTs there, and Jack is one of his priorities is very much his own training as well. He's very good CrossFitter, and so he was able to keep going. And Gabby was training over there as well, and then we set her up a little PT area in a garage that we own in the city as well. So she's got that area there, and then we set up a little office space from the gym and did all our filming there. So we do daily videos for the workouts, we do challenges, been educating ourselves on video editing and photo editing and stuff like that. So that's one of the new skills that we've acquired through quarantine. And just been running the Zoom classes. And now that we can do gatherings of 10 in an outdoor setting, we're lucky to have that outdoor space at the back of the gym, which we okayed with everyone, and so we've been running 8 people sessions out the back there.
So you're probably one of the only few gyms in the city that can even run right now.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. We're very, very lucky.
And I mean, that outdoor space would have been, like we were talking about this before, but that outdoor space would have been like a cool novelty when you first started using it.
That's right.
But
yeah.
now,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, that's our whole gym. And we were lucky because we got a rig out there so we can get people back onto barbells. So we're just starting with some really basic volume, getting the squats in, getting that sort of stuff in. Not too much ollie lifting just yet. Just getting their body under some weight again so that they're getting used to being loaded up, and then slowly over the next few weeks we'll start back with some ollie stuff and some more traditional CrossFit. And hopefully by then the gyms will be open and we'll be back inside.
So that's pretty interesting. So you guys are, like, let's say that everyone else gets the go ahead to open mid-June.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are a few weeks ahead.
Mm-hmm.
But the cool thing that you guys have had to like take into account is how to actually reintegrate everyone back into a training program.
That's right.
Because potentially people have either not been training or, you know, if they have limited equipment, just doing push-ups and stuff.
Yeah, so the members do take home a lot of equipment. So some have been squatting, some have been doing what they can, some have been doing some ollie lifting, that sort of stuff. But we're basically programming for lowest common denominator. So we're assuming that no one has done anything for 7 weeks and programming accordingly. Because we have to allow for the people that haven't touched the barbell, haven't lifted anything heavy for 7 weeks. So so we've just been starting with squats and some deadlifts and some pressing before we start getting back into the. And
they're going obviously stuff. Sets of 50, right? Like
basically we're doing sets of 8. 5 sets of 8 at a very light weight, and So and I think I recommended doing it at like 60 or 65% of your 1 rep max, and people were unracking bar going, I'm not going to be able to do this. So some people have lost more strength than others, but it'll come back. So,
that's a good thing. It does come back quickly.
And hopefully it all comes back. So by the time we're back in the gym and we're back on platforms, people are ready to go.
What about the fitness? Like how are you programming their like conditioning sessions? Yeah,
so in the gym that's the least priority at the moment, because they have been doing some conditioning at home. We've been running those online Zoom classes, and I know people have been running and all that sort of stuff. People have been pretty active because you don't require much equipment for that. So people have been doing that sort of thing, which is good. Most people have kept up their fitness. So, but what they haven't been able to do is lift heavy. So that's the priority when they're in the gym, because we're still running the Zoom classes as well.
Yeah.
So what we're recommending is that, or what we're programming is Monday and Tuesday is the same program in the gym. Wednesday, Thursday is the same, and Friday, Saturday. So people are only coming to the gym maximum of 3 days.
Yeah.
So they're lifting on those days, and the other days they can still do their conditioning from home on the Zoom classes. But the workouts that we are doing at the gym are just light stuff, a bit of running, a few burpees, maybe a little bit of gymnastics, that sort of stuff, a kettlebell, a wall ball, something like that. But like short, just 10-minute stuff, just to get a bit of a sweat on. But we're allowing the majority of the time then for them to take their time to be able to do their squats properly, their deadlifts, that sort
do
of
the stuff that you
that's
think
the
is
priority.
important. Do you think you'll continue running Zoom classes after
No.
this?
No, absolutely not. No, I don't know that there'll be a huge demand for it. It has been great in the sense that a lot of our members that because we're in the city, we get a lot of people that are coming and going that have to. Most of our gym are not Australians. Not
so you have a
born
transient
Australians.
population.
Very transient. So most of them are from the UK or Brazilian. And so when visas run out or circumstances change, people are having to move and go back home, or for work they're going to different countries and that sort of stuff. So when we kicked the Zoom classes back off, we had a bunch of members that we'd recently lost that are in the UK, some in Dubai, places like that have gone for work, and they messaged us, said, can we join? So it was great to see all their faces again. So they'd pop up, and everyone that was on the class wouldn't be expecting to see them. And so that was nice to be able to offer that and to be able to see them again and be able to work out with them again from the other side of the world. So
that is cool.
Lovely. Yeah, it was cool.
But you wouldn't do it again?
I would not. No, there's nothing like being able to see exactly what's going on with their movements.
Yeah.
It's nice if the camera is positioned in an optimal place. It's you can see some stuff and you can offer some coaching, but not like you can when you're face to face. I don't think.
I do a lot of like online programming, online coaching, and I guess it's also different when it's weightlifting. Like it's one movement at a time.
Yeah.
So
it's usually one person to.
And one person, So I'll get a video and I can actually break it down. And I really enjoy like my online athletes.
Yeah.
But just being there with someone and just be like, hey, how about we try this in real time?
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing.
And with weightlifting, like you can definitely, and particularly weightlifters that you've worked with, they know where to put the camera so that you can see what's going on and and that sort of stuff. Whereas they're just sort of putting the camera in the corner, and half the time they're off the screen. Where'd you go? So and there's there could be, our early classes particularly had over 20 people in the classes. So it's more offering motivation than it is any meaningful coaching tips, I think. But saying that, they were all very simple movements, so we weren't programming snatches and workouts and stuff like that. So
what was your attendance rate comparatively to the gym? Like a percentage?
Well, so what happened when we went into quarantine is we maybe lost about a third of our members very quickly, and then we maintained that for the duration so far. So automatically we were down about 30%. And then some people that got more equipment were able to do more traditional CrossFit stuff or weightlifting or powerlifting. So they weren't necessarily joining the classes.
Yeah.
They thought, well, I've got this stuff. I don't really want to do burpees and star jumps for 10 minutes.
And to be fair, that would be my inclination as well.
Exactly, and that's what I was telling people. If you can get stuff and you can follow a squat program while you're off, that would be far more beneficial than joining a Zoom class and that sort of stuff. But for the people that didn't have much equipment, it was good to get them on there so that we could offer some advice on the variations that they could use. So if they've only got a dumbbell, and so we were programming things like, rather than saying kettlebell swings, we were saying like we want a hip opener.
Yeah.
So if you have a dumbbell, that's going to be a dumbbell snatch, or you can go, a clean and jerk if it's a little bit heavier. If you've got a kettlebell, you're not going to take it from the ground. You're going to take it from the hip, and if it's light, you're going to go single arm. That sort of stuff, where we were offering advice on what movements or how to adapt the workout, and then maybe change the number of reps or things like that, so they were getting the correct stimulus or as close to what we were trying to achieve with that workout with the equipment that they have. So that was a large part of what we were doing in the class, where we were programming and had a very specific idea in mind about this workout should look like this. You should be able to get in this amount of time about 10 rounds. If you're getting more, you've missed the point. If you're getting less, you've missed the point. This is where we want this, how we've designed this workout. So we would go around and say, what have you got? What are you working with today? All right, I want you to do this. So-and-so, what have you got today? And they'd say, I've just got a backpack. All right, well, this is what you're going to do, and stuff like that. So that was a large part of it to begin with, until people got once we sort of stimulated their creativity, people were offering suggestions themselves, which is great. But yeah, I digress. I wouldn't be. Once we open, I don't want to do them again. I don't want to. No, it's
How
not for me.
How did you get into CrossFit?
So I originally I was doing a lot of training for triathlons. I enjoyed road riding, ocean swimming and running and that sort of stuff. But when you're particularly in your early 20s, you got to be big, man. You want to be big. So impress the girls. So I was doing a lot of bicep curling and a lot of bench pressing and stuff like that. And if you want to be good at triathlons, you don't want to, the body type is very different. So I was kind of in the middle there, torn between, I enjoy my riding. I ride with a bunch of guys that are real fit. They're fast, but at the same time, I also want to, I like to be strong. And then my cousin opened a CrossFit gym. So my cousin Trevor opened CrossFit EC out at Wetherell Park And I was talking to him one day and said, "You got to come down and try this." So
CrossFit EC.
Yeah.
There were 3 owners to that, right?
no, Trevor was the only owner, but he was using a space with it was a boxing guys. They had a boxing gym there as well. So that's where we started, and then sort of outgrew that space, and then he moved to a new location just down the road, and that was then a dedicated CrossFit space. And so that's where I got introduced to weightlifting and things like that. And it was just, with CrossFit, you need to be the perfect average athlete. So you need to be able to run and ride and swim and all that. But you also
I believe
need to be able
there's
to
8 modalities that you
10.
have to... is it 10?
10,
Oh, damn.
yeah. Yeah.
Do you know them off by heart?
Let's try it. Speed, power, coordination, accuracy, balance, cardiovascular endurance, stamina. Have I said strength?
No.
Strength. Oh shit, I can't remember what I've said. Flexibility, and have I said balance?
Yes.
That's 9. That's not bad. We'll go with that. Maybe if I was writing them down, I'd get them. But yeah, so
and then as a secondary, when was the last time you did your level 2 or level 1 or whatever it was?
my level 2, I think I did about 5 years ago.
Okay, so it's
Was my
been a
level
while.
2. That's been a while. Yeah.
You might have to do that.
I'm gonna try that again tonight. But
Quarantine.
I should be able to get all 10.
There's a quarantine refresher course that you can do, right?
Is it?
Yeah.
I definitely need to pull out the old level 1 handbook and have a look at that. But yeah, so it's the idea is that it's varied, and you need to be able to run 10K if you needed to, but you also need to, you want to be able to pick up a deadlift, I don't know, minimum 200 for a guy. And so that appealed to me, the idea that I didn't need to specialize, that I would be rewarded for being good at both and training both. And that made sense because that converted over into real life. So, for example, you want to be fit enough that if your mates call you up and say, "Hey, we're playing soccer this Arvo, do you want to come?" Yeah, sweet. I'm in good enough shape. I'm not going to, get 5 minutes in and have a heart attack. But at the same time, if your mum calls you up and says, "I've got a real heavy pot. Can you come over and move it for me?" I'm not a useless like shit. So,
Mom, I'm playing soccer.
That's right. So, and that makes sense because you need to. That's how life works.
Yeah.
You want to be fit and you want to be strong at the same time. So, so I got right into it because that made sense to me. That sort of training made sense, and so then I started helping coach there a little while after about a year of training there. I did my level 1, and then. We were looking for another space, and then I found a space in the city, which is a bit of a long story. It was a warehouse across the road from where I was working, and it looked like a bit of an abandoned building. Anyway, through relentless persistence, I eventually convinced the guy that owned the building to give me a space, and he said on condition that he would be half owners in the business.
Oh, really?
He would give it to me for free. Yeah, I was young and had no idea what rent was in the city. And when he explained it to me, he said, "How many square meters can you afford?" I said, "About 6." So, so he said, "Well, this is what we're going to do." So he gave me a space to use rent free for 6 months, and that was his buy-in into the business. And then we outgrew that space, and we knocked some walls down, and then we went downstairs and we took that floor. And then eventually he sold the building and knocked that down. So he put us in touch with some people that he was friends with that owned another building, and they had abandoned it because they'd made a large sum of money selling their business, and they just left the building there abandoned with the idea of developing it at some stage.
Yeah.
But so we moved in there and we had that for about 2 years, and then when that was ready to be knocked down, they had another space that they just sold. To some people that also wanted to knock that down at some stage, and they said, "Well, in the meantime, we got some clients, some tenants for you." So they moved us in there. So I was very, very lucky that the guy that took a chance on me, his name is George.
Is he still a part owner?
No. So when we moved to the third space, when we moved in there, I bought him out.
Yeah.
And took over the business as 100% owner. which he was very, very happy for me to do. That was the plan all along. He was never not hugely hands-on. He was instrumental in getting it up and going and teaching me a lot about business. He was a very successful businessman. As you probably tell, he had abandoned buildings in the city that he wasn't even interested in renting out. He would just live there and just own them for the sake of it, I think. And so yeah, I learnt a lot from him. And then we eventually, they knocked that one down, and so we moved into the current location, which is, and we've only really gone no more than a block from where we originally.
Wow.
Yeah, in any of the locations, they've all been no more than about 400 meters from each other. We've been very lucky to find spaces in the city where you can drop weights, make a large amount of noise, and not get complaints.
So was your second space where you couldn't really drop weights as much?
The second space was where we got the most complaints, yeah. So we learnt how to work with people and how to fit in that sort of environment. It's much easier when you're out in the suburbs and in a warehouse space and there's no one near you, or that is commercial. In the city, everyone's on top of each other.
Yeah, I'm like
packed in
zoned
like sardines.
Iron 1 or something. So
Packed in like sardines. So any noise you make is going to be felt or heard by someone. So it's a case of adapting and negotiating with people and learning to fit in. And we struggled with that at first. Particularly when I was a little bit younger, your first reaction is to be very defensive when people complain, but that's not how you're going to be successful in the city. You need to work with the people around you. And so we got very good at that, and we came to agreements with the residents next door and that sort of stuff about when we would start dropping weights and when we would stop and that sort of stuff. And once you start talking to people on that level, and they understand that you have a business to run as well, and you're trying to, you're just trying to make it, just trying to have a go, and they're just trying to enjoy, their residence. So once we learned to do that, we went a lot further. And the next place was great. We had great neighbours. They were very understanding. We would touch base with them often to make sure that there was nothing that we could do to minimise our impact. And our new place, we have fantastic neighbours, and they're very nice people. But they have business to run as well. So we cut the weights off at a certain time.
What do they do?
And then what do they do?
Yeah. What's their business?
So the office next door to us, they import opals and pearls.
Oh.
Yeah, they supply, they bring them in, or they mine them and they get them, and then they sell them to the larger brands. And so they've got an office full of people there, and we have a shared wall where we drop a lot of weight.
That's where you throw the wall balls and slam balls.
Yeah. So, but they're very understanding. They allow us to drop weights until 10 o'clock in the morning, which is well past our morning class, and that gives the coaches an hour or two to drop some weight as well. And then they know at 12:30 we've got our lunch class, but that only runs for an hour. So they basically tell all their staff take lunch at that time. So we see all them leave, and we say hello, and then as the class is finishing, they're coming back, and then in the afternoon, our first class starts at 5 o'clock, and that's when they're all leaving, basically.
Yeah.
So, we got really, really good neighbours. And again, we talk to them often to make sure that everything's okay, and they've got my number on speed dial if there is any problems. They call. They don't hesitate to call. They call and let me know someone is dropping weights outside of the time, and I'll check who's doing that and make sure that doesn't happen again. But they know that we're not there to be disruptors. We want to work with them, and we understand that we make a lot of noise. Great neighbours. And that's how we've been able to exist in the city where a lot of gyms haven't. I know of at least one CrossFit gym that got closed down by the council in the city because of their noise.
Who was it?
CrossFit Metal Nation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they moved down south, but they had a long string of issues with the council and back and forth with some residents upstairs.
I can imagine that the Sydney City Council is pretty tough.
Oh, they're ruthless, yeah.
I know some councils are like, pretty nice and easy to,
Yeah, that's just a there is an increased cost to that, to running businesses in the city because of things like that. The council, they come down and they'll check things that would just never be checked in the Kingsgrove gym. Somebody complained about our rig out the back being on outside land, and they came down. Obviously it was all on the DA and it was fine, and they checked it off, but while they were down there they had a quick walkthrough and noticed some of the fire safety things weren't up to standard, and we had to redo all the warning systems and get back to base alarms and all that sort of stuff, and that was like $9,000 or something like that.
Wow.
And then they come down, they'll check the bathrooms, they'll check the handrails and all that sort of stuff. There's got to be braille on the floor and on the bathrooms and all that sort of stuff. Just things that we would never have to deal with out at Kingsgrove, and all that comes at added expense. But that's just the cost of doing business in the city.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Certain things like I take for granted.
Yeah.
Like what I was able to get away with.
Yeah.
Like I know. Well, I'm done now, so I don't have to worry about it. But I know, like my railing, we guarded it off with like a plastic grate.
Yeah.
So that would essentially look like it was stopping kids from falling through.
Right.
But like if a kid ran through on the second floor, they'd just come straight through.
Yeah. No, it's got to be all ticked off, and then once you do some work, the conveyancers have got to come down. The compliance guys have got to come down and make sure it's all up to code and all that sort of stuff. And that all costs money. Every time someone comes in and does some work, and then someone's got to sign it off and write a report and send the report to the council. And it's very different to what we dealt with when we did Kingsgrove. We were in and out in 2 days. It was all set up and ready to go.
Gym done.
2 days. Yeah, literally 2 days it took us to get that place ready to go. But the city, a year after opening our new location, there's always something coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah, always something coming up. So.
What are some of the biggest issues that you've had to run? Like I feel like I don't really talk to many people that run gyms in the city. Actually, was Luke Starr's gym in the city? Like where's
No, he was at CrossFit Creature out at Marrickville, I believe. He was there originally.
Because he owned Active as well, right?
He did originally own Active, that's right, yeah. I forgot that, yeah.
He's some second person. I didn't really talk to him about it.
Yeah. They're out at Artarmon.
Oh, okay.
And Weightlifting, I believe they had 2. That's out of the city. That's we're right on Sussex Street. We're right in the heart of it almost. So yeah, they're pretty stringent, and there's always someone that's going to complain if you're not up to standard.
Yeah.
Someone will complain, the council will come down. So there's always something. Currently we're dealing with the fire alarm system again because it tripped. We've had a false alarm. Fire brigade came out, $1,800. False alarm, yeah, that sort of stuff. So we got guys in today to make sure they've got to check all the surge protectors and that sort of stuff to make sure that doesn't happen. So I've learnt a lot about things that I didn't think I would need to know when running a gym or coaching a CrossFit class.
Would you do it all again?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you love it?
I love it. Yeah, it's been really good.
Because I see this as I don't know if you're seeing the landscape, but we're seeing a lot of people get out of the game with all this,
Yeah, we're ready to open another one. So we're very actively looking for another location just outside the city, because the city gym right before all this happened was over capacity, I would say. So we want to open another one where we know a lot of our members live, so we can funnel some to that gym. Yep. And then we opened another place for you. Just go there. We've opened something. We want to open something out there where we can offer a little bit more of a traditional CrossFit weightlifting facility with a large open space and all that sort of stuff. So that particularly the more advanced athletes would prefer to go out there because of the space that they've got, and then we'll backfill with people from the city that are ready to be introduced to CrossFit and weightlifting and all that sort of thing, and the cycle continues.
That's exciting, man.
Yeah, it is cool.
And so when do you reckon that'll happen? I mean, obviously,
we got to find the right space. There's that. There's that, and obviously the business has taken a little bit of a hit through this episode. So, but as soon as we find the right space, we'll be ready to go. But we're not rushing it, because that's one of the things I've learnt about business, is that things, you be patient, and the right things will happen. Don't just jump at stuff. And there's certain so that one will probably be run by Lizzie.
Yep.
And so she's very, very eager and ready to have a space of her own to manage. But I'm a little bit more patient. Yeah, it's got to be the right space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because would you consider Lizzie to be like your right hand lady? Like
yeah.
She's always everywhere.
Yeah,
doing
basically
cool
she's I would say between her and Gabby runs all the admin stuff. Lizzie's very hands-on in the gym, and because of that, she's basically learnt most of what I know about running a gym and about business. So she's going to be very, very successful out there. I have no doubt. Yeah, so that's exciting.
That's super exciting.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah.
I first met, I first heard your name when I interviewed Parissa like 3-4 years ago. When did Kings Road start?
Was it that long? No, that was, when did I, because I listened to that podcast when I went to...
It was before...
It would have been a year and a half ago, I think. When you...
maybe.
On your podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would have been about maybe longer.
It was a while ago.
Yeah.
Because I was still in my old space, I think.
Okay.
No, I was in this new space. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, your name came up and she was like, oh, you should, talk to Dean if you want to talk about business and learn about stuff. And I was like, okay. And I never reached out because I'm lazy. And then I, over the years, I met Lizzie, obviously, when she started weightlifting.
Yeah.
I saw you, and then I saw more of what you do. And then I see you always like attending courses and rubbing shoulders with people, and it seems that you do a lot of like learning and networking and stuff.
Yeah, I do a lot of, mostly behind the scenes stuff. I don't, like, if you look at our Instagram, you won't see a picture of me. I very much sort of sit behind the scenes now.
I did see a really cool video of you dancing the other day.
That's a rarity. That was, man, we were bored. But yeah, there is a shot of me, a video of me doing some dancing on our Instagram. But mostly, you won't see very many.
And he's dressed very nicely too.
Yeah. Pull those tights off, man. But yeah, I like to sit behind the scenes and just sort of learn as much as I can from. I enjoy the business side of running a gym. I think even if it was another business, I'm glad it is a gym. But no matter what I ran now, I think I really just enjoy owning a business and learning stuff. But yeah, I get around a little bit. Yeah. Most gym owners wouldn't know who I am though.
Really?
Yeah, most CrossFit gym owners wouldn't know who owns CrossFit 168. Yeah, I would think.
Just anonymously.
They would probably think Lizzie owns it because she's on the Instagram a lot more than I am.
Yeah. And that's the way you like it?
That's the way I like it. Yeah, I prefer.
Is there a reason for that?
Not really. I like, when it comes to my coaches, I like to promote them as much as possible. And they do a lot more training than I do now as well. So they're much more impressive as athletes. So like I was saying, Jack is a very impressive athlete. Gabby does a better job of running the admin stuff than I do, and she is also an extremely strong little girl. And so we put her on. Liz is a great weightlifter and runs fantastic classes and gets on really, really well with all the members. So I just prefer to play to our strengths, and I think they're much better at that than I am. As far as a public face of what we do and what we produce and that sort of stuff, I think they showcase it probably better than I do. Particularly because there was a few years there when the gym was getting running and that sort of stuff, where training was very much a second priority. So which is why I've enjoyed quarantine, because I've been able to train again. And so yeah, I'm enjoying that. But yeah, prefer to sort of sit behind the scenes a little bit.
It's crazy to me because, like, considering that you have part owner in 2 gyms, potentially 3 gyms in the near future, that takes a lot of ambition and potentially a lot of ego too. But then stepping back and letting someone else be the face of a business is like very egoless.
Like Kingsgrove, that's very much Parissa's. They're all her members and they love her, and she's a fantastic coach and just a great person.
Is Lizzie back? Is that who I hear?
Is they really?
Oh no, someone else.
I let her do her thing out there, and I rock up and fix things or whatever needs to be done. Basically, I'm just there to serve her, make sure that everything that she needs to run the business is there and done, and then I just let her do her thing, and that's kind of what I do in the city as well. There's a lot of I've noticed recently on Instagram and that sort of stuff. There's just a lot of promotion from like self-promotion from gym owners and coaches and stuff like that, and I'm not really interested in that. I want to see what your members are doing. You know? I want to see what you're producing. I want to see what you're doing in the gym to make it constantly better. Everyone's talking about the next rebuild and 2.0 or we're redoing everything. What was so bad with what you had in the first place that you got to redo everything? To me, it's
mine was I wasn't making money.
It's just about it's not about the next huge thing. It's just it's a natural progression. This is going to be, we were doing that and now we're going to do this, and this is how we're going to make it better than what we were doing a day ago or 2 days ago. It's not, it's hopefully what you were doing was trying to get better every day anyway, and then this is just wherever you are or wherever you're going or whatever, this is just the natural progression of one step better than what we were. Because it like our first gym when we first opened had 4 barbells, 4 wall balls, a couple of kettlebells and 4 20 kilo plates and 4 10 kilo plates. That was it. That's all we had. And there wasn't any one day where it went from that to, we've rethought something and this is our next big thing. It's, group fitness is shit, or this sort of thing is shit and we're going to redo something else. No, we believe in what we're doing, and tomorrow we're going to try to be better than what we were today.
Yeah, an incremental step.
Incremental, and that's, like CrossFit 168 has never been a huge, there's never been a day-to-day where it's been a huge change, but every day is just a little bit better. And this is our fifth location if you count upstairs, downstairs at 168, 277, 313, and now 259. It's our 5th space in 7 years. And every time we move, every day when we open up, we just want to be a little bit better than we were the day before. And that's kind of what it's about for me, more so than saying, look how good we are. Which is why we don't even run. I've never run an ad on Facebook or anything like that. We just concentrate on the members that we've got and doing the best with what we have for them, and it's kind of just taking care of itself. I don't think I've done anything extra special, extra great, nothing revolutionary. I just really like coaching people and celebrating that they are better than they were yesterday, just like, and that's kind of what's taken the business better than it was the day before. So we never run an ad. It's people telling their friends and their co-workers and stuff like that. And our gym is, before we closed, we had over 300 members in the city gym, and we've never run an ad, and we've never actively pursued new members. We just concentrated on the ones that we had with everything that we had, and put all our effort into them and showcased them, and it's kind of just worked for us, I think. When people say, you do this, or it's great that you that you've managed to do that. I just pay the rent. What's here is because of the members, and I have the best coaches in the world, and they've grown this business. I just make sure that the electricity bill's paid, so the lights are on in the morning. Yeah, I don't think I've really done anything extraordinary to achieve that sort of level of success in a gym, in a boutique gym, which is still by no means, by some standards, hugely successful. I think if you look at some of the overseas gyms like NC Fit, and what Kalipa's done, and some of those gyms, like that's kind of where we're always striving to be.
Do you look at gyms like NC?
Yeah.
What, like Solace?
Yeah.
Like those type of gyms?
Yeah, absolutely. We look very closely at what NC is doing all the time. For me, that's the main influence, business-wise. And not that we necessarily think that everything they do is relevant for, we got to take that and put it in our gym. But Kalipa, he's just always trying to innovate, and he's always trying new things. And sometimes he tries things and they don't work. And you see that they're promoting their new thing, and then you don't see it anymore, and it clearly hasn't taken off, and that's fine. But it's not long before he's got another idea, and he's trying things, and he's just always trying to make it better. And I was lucky enough to meet him and spend the day with him in Singapore at the start of the year, and just pick his brain and his mentality and how he thinks about business. And super humble guy. And same thing, like he says, most of his members, they don't care who he is. Most of his members don't know who he is, don't know that he won the CrossFit Games. Large proportion don't know that there is a CrossFit Games, and that's okay. He doesn't care. It's not about him. He's just trying to build the best facility and provide the best training experience anywhere in the world for his members, and that's how he's managed to grow.
The cameraman didn't even know that he won the CrossFit Games.
That's right. Yeah, and he's fine with that.
Yeah. Well, what are the biggest things that you've implemented from, like, let's say Kalipa, or if you can attribute it to like other people as well?
So we did follow their programming for a while, the NC Fit, NC Collective programming, and we learnt a lot from that. We're not anymore, because we took some of the best parts of that, in that they produce daily videos for their members, so that they're prepared before they get to the class. They know what to expect. They've got their head in that headspace. They're starting to think about a strategy for the workout, all that sort of stuff. They're pumped, they're ready to go. So we took that, we do that on Instagram every day. There's a daily video. They're not at the moment because they're in our 168 online group, just for our members. But every day we have a video for the workout, where we'll talk them through what the stimulus of the workout is, what we want from them, as far as weight choices or scaling choices and stuff like that. Obviously our coaches are there to do that as well, but it's just a better conversation when they've already had a think about it, and they're there, and they can, rather than the coaches telling them, it's a conversation, because they've had
You're
some
starting the
time to think about
conversation earlier.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. They have session plans for their coaches, so they know, they've got an idea of what the warm-up will be, what the conversation should be before the class starts, all that sort of stuff. So we took that, and we do that as well for our coaches. We have a weekly coaches meeting where we go through all that, and I'll explain to the coaches again what we're looking for, and some ideas on how they can help our members achieve that. What do they do? They do some of their business stuff, so the stuff behind the scenes. That's been the biggest take after that meeting that we had with him in Singapore. So we now have coach evaluations, we have member feedback forms, we have different levels, tiers of coaching, where the coaches are evaluated, and if they meet a certain criteria, they go from coach to head coach or senior head coach or whatever, and that comes with certain incentives as well. So really starting to think about the business as not just a hobby, not just something that I set up in a room just so I could squat with my mates, but actually starting to think about it as a proper company and as a proper business. And the funny thing is, when I worked for CBA, or anyone that works for any larger or successful business, there's a good chance that you had PFRs and you had manager evaluations and you had all that sort of stuff. There's a hierarchy and there's promotions and there's all that sort of stuff and there's incentives to do a better job. But then when I opened the gym, it was just, for the longest time, it was just a hobby. It was just something I really enjoyed doing, and I would just come in and all the coaches are my mates, and we get on, we have the best time, and then we all go home. And it wasn't until recently that I actually started to think about it as a proper business, and businesses have certain things for certain reasons. There's a reason why most large corporations in the world operate that way. It's because it works. And if we hope to achieve that level of success, as what we see with companies like NC Fit, we probably should start doing that. There's a reason why they do that. There's a reason why CBA did it with me, and there's the reason why most companies do it. So that's what we started doing, and that changed a lot of stuff for me in the mentality of how I wanted to run things. And
was there any culture shock with the coaches? Yeah,
definitely. And so we introduced it slowly, and we had an off-site with the team, which is there's sort of terminology that you're used to having when I worked in a large corporation. You have off-sites with your teams. Normally, when we have off-sites with the teams at the gym, it's just called drinking at the pub. But we had an off-site, and we sat everyone down and we said, this is what we're doing, but this is why we're doing it. It's because we want you to develop, and we want to incentivize you, because if you're doing twice as good a job as one of the other coaches, well, you should be being paid more.
Yeah.
So we want to pay you more. So show us that you meet this criteria. We'll tick it off, and from next week, you're gonna get a pay increase. And the other thing, we want to continue to grow the gym, because then you have more opportunities to coach at some of our other locations, or open your own, or whatever. And that's why we're doing it. It's because we want everyone to be fairly compensated and everyone to be motivated when they come to work. And we want to run the best training facility in the country. And this is one of the steps in doing that. And it was a bit of a culture shock, as it would have been for me if you told me I was going to do it 6 months before that.
Yeah. Well, most people that open a CrossFit gym stick it to the man.
Exactly.
Renegade.
Exactly. And I was very much like that, because I did not enjoy working at CommBank, and for some of those reasons. So there was a learning in that how it was conveyed to me was perhaps not the best way. So how could I change that, or how can I use those learnings when I'm now finding myself in a position where I have staff that I can convey that better to them. So it was interesting. It's not something I thought that we'd be doing, and it's I just wanted to turn the music loud, put chalk on, and lift some weights and make lots of noise with my mates. But 7 years later, we're doing offsites. So yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, but I think it's for the best. I think if we don't do stuff like that, then we are going to stay where we are. And not that there's anything wrong with what we're doing. We were doing a really, really bang-on job, but there's more opportunity there. And I think that it would be a shame if we didn't take all this great stuff that we'd learn and be able to offer it to more people. So that's what we're going to try to do.
Yeah, I know people like Jason, Kalipa and stuff, they always talk about scaling up. Yes, you can, in your gym, you affect 300 people plus staff. In my gym, maybe 30 people plus staff. But how do you scale that up?
Yeah.
How do you affect more people?
Exactly.
You have to have protocols in place.
Exactly. Yeah. I said there's a reason why large corporations do that. We want to be able to replicate what we're doing in places where I have less control. I'm not going to be there every day, and so we need managers and we need people to be accountable and we need to incentivize people and that sort of stuff if we want to achieve the same sort of we want to replicate that good stuff again in other locations, which is what we want to do. We want to open more spaces.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So Lizzie's just come back, but
Yeah,
Lizzie's
so-
a pretty decent weightlifter, and that's
She's
how
alright.
we actually met.
Yeah.
You guys are no longer a weightlifting club.
We aren't. We chose not to re-affiliate with the Australian Weightlifting Federation. It wasn't something that we were necessarily disgruntled with them over. We just thought that we weren't. We didn't see any real value in it anymore, particularly given the restrictions that we had as a result. So I guess I can talk about it because it doesn't really. I'm not affiliated anymore. I don't think we will be anymore. So what happened was, Sonny Webster, who is a weightlifter, and
Olympian.
he's a good friend of mine. He's controversial, so he went to the Olympics. He got banned. They found he got a positive test for
Not because of
banned
his hat.
substance. Not because of his hat.
That was also frowned upon.
Also frowned upon. Yeah. Anyway. I have no strong opinions on that one way or another, but
On the hat?
on the hat, yeah.
I have strong opinions on the hat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're conservative.
I'm super conservative.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I like the hat. I thought it's a nice touch.
Yeah. I can understand why that upsets some people. I've got friends that are conservative on many different issues, and people that are passionate about weightlifting. I can understand them not liking that. It is what it is.
I just think it's so silly, the flack he copped for wearing his hat.
Yeah. Anyway, so he got banned. He trains at our gym, and there's a couple of other weightlifters that are on the fringes that are. How would you describe it?
They're figures within the gym, within the world of weightlifting that are maybe not welcome by the greater population of Olympic
Yeah,
weightlifters
they're not
within
well
Australia.
accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For right or wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Like, that's not for us to comment on.
Yeah. No, I don't think so because, some of those reasons I agree that they shouldn't be welcomed by the Australian Weightlifting Federation and professional sports. I 100% agree with that. But I welcome them into our gym because I welcome everyone into our gym, and so whether or not I agree with what they did or what they are accused of doing, we're not in competition, and anything that they've done in the past is in the past, and we take them at face value and what they offer us and what they offer our members, and if it's beneficial for and it adds value to what we're trying to create, then they're welcome. And so that's what we've done to those athletes, and I'm good friends with a lot of them, and having had athletes that competed under the Australian Weightlifting Federation in an organised setting, I would understand the frustration of some coaches that they train at our gym, because I would not want someone that wasn't welcomed with the Australian Weightlifting Federation for whatever reason to be competing alongside my athletes in an organised sport.
Yeah.
But that's not what we're doing anymore. We took a survey and said, is anyone interested in competing this year? And we didn't have any athletes that said that they particularly wanted to. So we decided not to re-register with the federation. And that came after some heat that they put on us for some posts that we put up on social media that had Sonny in it, and they asked us to take them down, which we did. We understood that. We took them down initially. They're back up now. But those guys add value. I think Sonny's a good dude, generally. He's one of my mates. We train together. We've never spoken about the incident, because it's not relevant to me.
And if you do want to hear Sonny talk about what
Yeah,
happened,
yeah.
he did record 2 podcasts, I
Yeah,
think.
there's several. He did one recently.
Okay.
And I've heard some of them, and yeah, it is what it is. But Sonny adds a lot of value to our gym. He comes in, he's full of energy. He coaches when he's whilst training. He'll stop and he'll coach some of our members. He'll offer advice or whatever. He organises events at the gym where we've raised a bunch of money for a charity. We contributed towards a gym in South Africa in a pretty impoverished area where there's a bunch of kids that would not otherwise have been introduced to weightlifting now have a facility that they can train at. And so you look at stuff like that and say, look, as a whole, he's adding some real value to the gym, and I like having him here. So we welcome him and anyone else that wants to add positive value to the community that we're trying to create. And Australian Weightlifting Federation, we're not at odds with that. They never had a go at us or anything like that, but they stand for something, and they have to. Yeah. There has to be a standard maintained, and I agree with that. But that clashes a little bit with not clashes, because like I said, I agree with it. But it's just not conducive with, I suppose, the more welcoming community that we're creating at the moment. So we've chosen not to continue our affiliation with them.
Yeah, and you look, if you're at home and you don't understand what we're talking about, basically, if you are banned from sport for any length of time due to any form of doping, whether that just be like you miss too many tests or whatever, like whatever it is, there's something that's called prohibited. I don't even know the name for it anymore. Basically, you just can't be around other people in a professional sense within the sport, which means if you're banned in weightlifting or any sport, you cannot be coaching or hanging out with or
you can't even associate with
other athletes.
With other athletes that are registered. And we had some athletes
prohibitive
that were registered.
Association.
Yes, yeah, and we had some athletes that were registered, and we were a registered club, and so we weren't allowed to welcome those people. And I wanted to welcome those people. So
no, you're not registered.
Yeah, and that's not to say that I'm condoning what they did or are accused of doing. I just want to welcome them as people.
Yeah,
not endorse necessarily anything either way, except for good people adding good value. And Sonny's not the only one. I use his name because he's quite public about his incident, and he was specifically named by the AWF, and we were called out for our association with him. But there are a number of athletes that are controversial figures. Yeah.
So this is something that I've long been conflicted about, because and like I'm within the sport of weightlifting. I've been in the sport. I've owned a weightlifting gym for 5 years. So I'm like deep in the sport, and I know as a media person, like I do podcasts. I would love to just talk to everyone, and then I have this. Wait, am I allowed to talk to everyone?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Am I not allowed to talk to everyone?
Yeah.
Also, like, I'm super interested in it, like in everyone's life stories.
Yeah, yeah.
And then on the other hand, I now compete in Strongman, which, let's be honest, there's potentially no testing in that sport.
I don't want to say it's rampant.
So, like, I'm talking to a lot of strongman, and that's okay because no one's ever been busted.
That's right.
Because there's no testing.
That's right.
Yeah. And then on the other hand, we've got this. So I'm kind of like where you were a year ago, where I'm like tossing up, like, what does this mean to me?
I think that's what we just got sick of doing. Every time we had someone, we were like, can they be in the back of a photo? Because they're not technically banned. Are they?
Yeah.
when are they banned? I haven't received any
And
correspondence.
then you have to have that conversation. Like,
Yeah.
are you banned?
Yeah. Yeah. Are you allowed to be in the back of this photo and all that sort of stuff? And it's just, we just thought, well, we're not getting that much value from being associated because we don't have anyone that's competing. I said Lizzie was a great weightlifter and she was competing. Parissa was an exceptional weightlifter as well, and she was competing, and but they're not anymore. So we just thought, well, that'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah,
I get that. I'm not there,
And
but
that way we can just let anyone in, and obviously, if someone was walking around my gym trying to convince my members to take steroids, there would be strong words, but that's not what's happening. It's just good people all training together and adding value. So, that's kind of that's in parallel with what we're trying to do. So, yeah.
I get that.
Yeah. So
It
it's probably
probably
not. Yeah.
doesn't
So it's not the huge blow up story that maybe you'd hope for. There was no anything like that, but we just decided to have an amicable ending of our relationship. Yeah.
I was expecting fireworks, gunfights.
But I'm glad that we were, because I learned some stuff. I learned from guys like you and Yannick, and we went to some comps, and we'd never done a comp before. We were just CrossFitters. You can press out, and we went to. We got to see how they're organized and what a coach does behind the scenes, and there's a lot of work behind the scenes there to what a coach has got to do between the athletes' lifts and watching all that sort of stuff. And that's some stuff that I'm really glad that we were a part of and learnt from. So yeah, I'm very, very glad that we were for a period involved in that.
Sweet. I think that's probably a good place to leave off.
Yeah, cool.
Where can people find you, Dean?
Well, at CrossFit 168 in 259 Sussex Street in the city, or at Garema Circuit at CrossFit 168 Kingsgrove, and hopefully a third location very soon.
And, do not turn up if you're sick.
Don't turn up if you're sick. Please stay at home. Yeah.
But turn up if you're thick.
That's it. Now that's a good place to leave it, I think.
Guys, you can find RAW Barbell Club at RAW Barbell Club on all of our social media. So that's Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I don't post much there, but I do have a TikTok. Do you have a TikTok?
I don't yet.
I feel like you guys would kill it on TikTok.
I think we should venture into it soon. Yeah, given our success with our dance video, that's what the people want. That was the feedback, that they wanted more of that. No one's interested in my coaching. They just want to see me dance in tights, which I'm fine with. That was a much better response than what I thought I'd get. So, if this gym thing doesn't work out,
successful dance career.
I got that going.
Guys, make sure you go on and pre-order some Weightlifting House barbells. You can do that now. We're still doing that. What else do I have to plug? You can buy Weightlifting House tape, thumb tape, so you don't have to have sore thumbs all the time. And lastly, if you're looking for some online coaching, whether that be in CrossFit, weightlifting, strongman, powerlifting, just wanting to be fitter, if you want a running program, I don't want to do that, but I have a coach that will do that for you. You can reach out to us about that too. I hope you guys enjoyed that episode, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.